Apparently, while Roots Picnic was going on, so was Summer Jam. Summer Jam happened at UBS Arena in New York, in Long Island, and apparently there was a very young crowd there, which is why I said Ice Spice and her generation, playing around.
Yeah, 'cause a lot of times the artist will hop from one day at Roots and then another day at Summer Jam. I feel
Right,
like
and
that
that's what
happened.
Sexy Red did. So Sexy Red was one of the people who performed at both.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Method Man and Redman also did that. Method Man and Redman performed, and apparently it was not well received um, by the audience at Summer Jam. And Method Man had something to say about it. So we're gonna pull up what Method Man said here.
METHOD. I just want to say I did see a video of Method Man and Redman performing. I believe it was at Roots Picnic. Method Man was in a golden colored matching set, and Method Man did what he looked like he did what he came to do.
They both had black on for Roots, but
Then this must have been Summer Jam.
yeah, I'm about to say this is what you saw. This was Summer Jam.
Yes, I thought that was a great color on Method Man, and I just wanted to point that out.
All right. So Method Man puts out a tweet that says, "Not our crowd at all. Thanks again, New York and the whole tri-state area that showed up to the event. Plus Pete and Ebro. I got love for you guys, but never again. At this point, the generation gap is just too wide for me. Hashtag never coming back."
Have you ever been to Summer Jam?
No,
I've never been either. I have been to
I'm
the Hot
laughing. I'm
97
laughing at.
cruise though.
I'm laughing at the hashtag.
Right.
He didn't have to put hashtag never coming back.
Hashtag never going. He's also showing his age because I feel like there was an era for hashtags that really don't matter, and that was one of those hashtags that totally
Love
did not had no relevance.
it. I love it. That was great.
I remember when we were just
Hashtag.
hashtagging things just to hashtag it. There was no rhyme or reason to it. Yeah, that's
Yep.
what that felt
You
like.
ever be hanging out with somebody and they say a hashtag?
Yes.
I always think that's weird.
I've done it before, but I
They'd be
like to
like,
use the comment.
hashtag sorry I'm late.
Okay, no, I don't like that one.
Like,
But I'll do like
like
hashtag never
what?
forget just because that's so common.
Hmm.
But yeah, no.
It's like 5 more shots. Hashtag YOLO. It's like, can we just order the drinks?
Yeah, no, you should
Just,
just order the drink.
just order the drinks,
I
man. We
feel
don't need to do that. We don't need hashtags. All right.
I feel like some people are kind of stuck in that era though, like
Yep.
because that was an era, like that was a thing, and
Yep.
I kind of feel like I don't know, but we digress. Um,
So what you
hashtag
say
never
about what
coming
Method
back.
Man said? All right. So what are your thoughts on what Method Man said there?
I always wonder about older, more seasoned artists that attend Summer Jam because that's always been my impression. Like even after a certain point, I feel like I had missed the window for Summer Jam. I never had like a strong desire to go. But I also knew that like after a certain point in my life, you'd hear about Summer Jam. Oh, Summer Jam is coming, whatever. And I knew for me, Summer Jam wasn't for me. So
Right.
knowing that, which I think if you keep it as an event where it's very heavy on newer acts, you're going to run into a situation where the people who have been coming, people who have been attending will eventually age out, but also the artists, some of the artists, the older artists will age out.
Right.
And some of them might be okay with that. I feel like there are certain artists out there who are very much connected to younger people and a younger audience. I feel like that with even Nicki Minaj. I feel like her barbs are not just like people maybe our age, but her barbs are younger too.
It's a wide
So
range. Yeah.
Right. So it works for her, right? Like she'll still sell out arenas. She could still attend an event like Summer Jam and people be super excited about it. But there are certain artists where that's just not gonna work. Um, I guess Method Man and Redman are two of those artists. Um, because my instinct is, oh my gosh, Method Man and Redman, like I'm so excited. That would be I would, you know what time we need to be there to make sure that we catch Method Man and Redman. Like that's how I would be looking at it. But I'm also an old millennial who, grew up on that. So it's different for me.
Right.
But if your audience is what, like 25 and under, they don't they don't
And
care
that's what
about
I
Method
was.
Man and Method Man and Redman in that way.
Medman. Oh yeah, Medman comes with all the medicines.
I think that's a dispensary.
That's funny,
Yeah.
and that makes sense. um, yeah, I was saying I was looking up Ice Spice and Sexy Red's ages to
Okay.
see, uh, kind of have a gauge of what their demo is, which I
Mhm.
already have an idea, but I just was curious. So Ice Spice is 24,
Ugh,
hence the name of her album,
why it's
and yeah, and Sexy Red is 26. So yeah, if those are the ages of the people at the concert, Method Red are probably not uh in their playlist.
we are old.
Yes, yes, we are.
If they are 24 and 26, we are some old ass people, okay?
Hmm.
so so wild because you start to think like, okay, 24. I remember when I was 24. You start thinking back, you're so many miles away from 24 when you really sit down and think about it at this age. We don't need to get into that, but it's just I'm sorry, I know I'm being grandma right now, but I'm just like,
That's you, cool grandma, but not
but not
really.
really. I'm like, wow, okay, I get it. And I also get why I'm bracing myself for listening to an Ice Spice album. It makes sense. Like, it makes complete sense. Because I'm an old fogey and she's
Not a fogey, ladies and
24.
gentlemen. This was weeknights. Thank you for being here.
And she's 24. And don't get me wrong, like I think we know that I like music where you can have a good time, and I like youthful music. That's not
Yeah,
really the question
yeah, you do.
here. Um Even though I may not listen to a whole Sexy Red album, I be over here and get it sexy. I'm tapped in, but it's still when you like sit down and think about that, it's like it's wild. It's like, oh, okay, I get why. It's totally understandable. It's totally understandable why I feel that way. It's also totally understandable why Method Man feels that way. It makes me kind of sad that it had to come out in this way because I mean, we could look at it two ways, right? We
Hmm.
could look at it as maybe this is a signal to Hot 97 that maybe they want to do a better job at diversifying their audience. I don't know how you do that with something that is such a staple and has been going on for so many years. You've kind of built it up around the youthfulness of the crowd, right? So you'd have to put in some extra work to try to figure out how to get an older crowd out there. It's gonna start with the acts that you put on stage.
All right.
Um, but then do you lose? Then you also run the risk of losing that audience that you already have. So that's a concern. And maybe it doesn't matter to Hot 97. Maybe Hot 97 is like, well, this is what it is, and y'all could have gone to Roots because maybe that's where you belong. Um, so I get both sides of it. I feel like what are they? What was Hot 97 supposed to do to ensure that Method Man and Redman felt welcomed or felt like they were, loved and revered while they were on stage. I mean, they also chose to do Summer Jam. So there's,
Right. Well, let me read the performers here. So
please.
the lineup was Doja Cat and Friends,
Okay.
Sexy Red, French Montana,
Okay.
DeVito, DeVito,
Mhm.
Lola Brooke, Cash Cobain, Bay Swag, Honey Baby, Fabio Foreign,
I know him.
41, and then it says in parentheses, Kyle Rich, Jen Carter, Tata. I don't know what any of that means. Sleepy Hollow,
I've heard of
Connie
Sleepy Hollow.
Connie Diamond, 310 Baby. I never even seen that before. Ty Dolla Sign and Friends.
I know
Then
Ty
it
Dolla
says
Sign
then it says celebrity host A Boogie.
with the
Then it
hood.
says celebrating the life of Mr. C with Big Daddy Kane,
I know,
Jadakiss,
I know that.
EPMD, Eric B and Rakim,
Well, what
Method
did they
Man and
do?
Redman.
What did they? Oh, so people were probably, that entire set was probably not pleasing to the audience.
Lord Tyreek and Peter Guns.
Because if it wasn't for the Bronx,
Then it says the curator, Funk Flex on the set, and then hosted by Nessa Ebro, Peter Rosenberg, and Laura Stiles.
I actually think it's really funny that they still host it.
Well, I wanted to read the lineup to kind of paint a picture of what was on display, and so we could see what kind of audience might be there, right? Because
Mhm.
I got to be honest, that's not a bad mix of old and young.
It's not.
Um, but if the younger crowd showed up more, that's not Hot 97's fault. Um,
But it's something they have to consider.
right. I was gonna say, and I guess the question becomes, you how do they create a balancing act? Do they continue to book artists like Meth and Red and Jadakiss and EPMD and Eric B and Rakim, or do they just keep leaning younger? Because it seems like the older acts were not welcomed this time around. Um, so I guess that's a question for Hot 97, not for us. But I do think that creating balance is key. Uh, I also understand the flip side of there are people who say we know our demographic, we're going to lean completely into our demographic and F everybody else. So I guess it's about what their business plan is. What's the plan with something like a summer jam moving forward? To speak to Method Man specifically and what he said, I don't think he's wrong. Um, you know, going up there and performing takes a lot of energy. It's something that's exciting. And for the energy to kind of be sucked out the room as you're trying to do that is really hard to get through a set. I imagine they did not do 2 songs, meaning they had a lengthy set probably. And if that's the case, you don't want to beat up there for half hour where it's like no one's even paying you any mind. And I can say because I've seen Meth and Red a couple times now, um, it's not like they're a boring performance, right? They're not standing on the stage with low energy, kind of like, okay, all my people, where you at? In the front, in the back? They are very high energy. And so the fact that they're high energy and the crowd wasn't gravitating towards them kind of speaks volumes.
And I mean,
Um,
Beth was wearing the hell out of that yellow, so I just feel like even that would grab you.
right. Clearly it grabbed you. So I understand what he's saying. I get it. I think it's unfortunate. But if the age gap is too wide, if most of the people there are 24, for example, if you're born in 24, how much Meth and Red do you know?
Yeah.
Or forget about age. If you just listen to younger music, probably don't have an appreciation or an affinity for the type of music that Meth and Red make. So
Yeah. Or
I get it.
that just wasn't your vibe. Maybe like because let's call it what it is. Music and the way we receive it is subjective. Like it's what you think about
Mhm.
it. Sure, we can have different levels and different ways that we measure music on a larger scale, but on a personal level, it's what you like and what you don't like, and sometimes you don't like certain things, even if it's classic to the masses. Um, so so there's that.
Hey, I muted my mic, okay?
Oh, oh, you figured
I
we
mean,
could just. I don't know why you didn't just give us the ASMR.
nah, y'all don't need to hear me scraping up the peanut buttery smoothie, you know.
But yeah, um now I'm thinking about your peanut butter smoothie.
Listen, I had to, I had to
Mhm,
get that last little bit.
I understand,
Good
but
to the last drop, right?
exactly. Yeah, it sucks for Method Man and Redman because they're super talented. Um, but it also, like we both said, it kind of puts Hot 97 into the hot seat. And I think that is something they should think about because I could totally see there being a bit of a revolution now that someone has said it very plainly and very explicitly. I could totally see other older acts being like, no, we'll pass on this. Questlove called us and we're going to go over there this weekend.
Yeah,
And
and I don't. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
well, and I was just gonna say it's not that people are choosing one over the other, just to be clear, because obviously they did both, and they're not
Right.
the only artists. It's very common, from what I've seen over the years. It's very common for, especially because Philly and New York are so close, for an artist to do like one day at one and one day at another. Um, it's probably easier for the festivals to book them, also because of that. So. So it's not to say that there's a choice there or whatever, but it's just to point out that there are other spaces where they're probably going to be an older act is probably going to be more welcomed, and people are probably going to be more excited. But then it also makes me think about when my last experience with Roots Picnic, where there were certain artists where the crowd wasn't really excited, and it was kind of like, who is in the crowd today? Like, is this the younger crowd? Because people that I would think were super exciting, or again, and then you start thinking about, well, if you're 24 and Sexy Red is like your holy grail, then yeah, maybe Freeway and Beanie Siegel are not going to be the people you're excited about. Um,
Right.
I'm also surprised because I feel like, and then I'll shut up. I feel like sometimes it's also regional. So it's super surprising to me that Method Man and Redman wouldn't get the love in New York just because it's New York, you
I
know?
get that.
So I don't know.
Yeah, and I think just want to say real quick before we move on. I think it's important.
So that extra peanut
One,
butter.
you're funny. Um, I think that it's a skill to be able to point out that, hey, this is not working for our business, and we're gonna make a pivot.
Yeah.
That's hard to do, and that's hard to know. So I think that it's a great thing that they're able to recognize that.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's a smart move to say, hey, we're gonna avoid these areas where we really don't see um, a benefit. We really don't see the what's the word I want to use here.
Value.
Uh, can't think of the word, but they're not really getting what they want out of the situation.
Yeah,
And so they're just going to move on. And I think that's a smart thing to be able to recognize that, we're not really being appreciated in certain markets. So we're just going to avoid them. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that's a smart move, to be honest.
I agree. And I think it also teaches us that, not us, but just in general, I think it speaks to the fact that it's not always about a check.
Right.
And I respect them very much for that, because some people just do it for the check.
Yes.
And some people do it for the love of the thing that they do. Some people do it for both, obviously. There's nothing wrong with doing it for both. There's nothing wrong with doing it for the money. But it means something to me when to hear an artist say, I actually wanted to go out there and like excite people and make them have a good time, and I have a good time with them. I think that's really important. So the fact that it's not even he's willing to walk away from something on some this just doesn't I don't there's no alignment here, I'm not feeling the synergy, then I think that's cool. A lot of people wouldn't do that.